Actually thinking about it, and I was like, I don't know who's going to be the starters. And back in the pregame lounge? Is this real life?
Oh, yeah. It's Summer League life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the pregame lounge. Here we are, man. Again, back like we never left. Live from the Toyota Lounge, run by your Front Range Toyota Store. Toyota's the official vehicle of DNVR. Summer League opener. Nuggets and Bucks, man, and we're doing the whole thing. Pre-game, watch-along, post-game. I'm excited for it. I'm Harrison Wind alongside Brendan Vogt.
It's just like opening day of a regular season, Harrison. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
The Nuggets Summer League team is still alive. We all know they'll finish 2-3, but for now, it's a clean slate. It's 0-0. I'm very excited. Actually, okay, all jokes aside, DaRon Holmes playing some basketball tonight, the Mile High Flyer. No longer ground-bound, man. I'm excited.
I know. We've been talking about, DaRon Holmes for about like a year in the background, and now we finally get to see him play. I'm just excited to watch some actual basketball. Nuggets flamed out in the second round. I shouldn't say flamed out. They lost to the eventual NBA champions.
Yep.
OKC Thunder in 7 games. I've been missing my Nuggets, and, we don't get the actual Denver Nuggets back tonight, but we get a version of them, a very slight version of them. And look, man, I'm excited to just watch some ball again.
Sure, and no big draft pick, but again, DaRon Holmes, we didn't even really get to see him at Summer League last year, of course. And unfortunately, the Achilles rupture essentially right off the bat. So there wasn't a lot of tape, and we're excited to get what we can on what right now is the Nuggets' young prospect that could change things. That's really hopeful. That's lofty expectations, but he's the one we all have our eyes on.
Yeah. So they've got the Bucks in their Summer League opener. Right now, actually, is the game everybody paid like $1,000 to go see. Cooper Flag versus Bronny James.
Oh, that's right.
That's going on right now the main court. I've got to imagine there's nobody getting ready to watch Nuggets Bucks in little old Cox Pavilion, man.
Just how we know it, just how we like it, dude.
Have the Nuggets played like every Summer League game in little old Cox Pavilion?
I'm pretty sure, actually, I have not watched them play on the other court.
That's what it seems like. But hey, we like it there. It's really cool if you're there, and we got, a contingent. Adam, D-Line, and Dev are all there. You get to hear everything. You get to see everything in that small gym. It's a lot of fun. Nuggets and Bucks coming up. Can you tell me about who is on the Bucks Summer League roster? Do you have any names that pop out to you there?
Yeah, of course. Andre Jackson Jr., who has some NBA experience, of course.
I like him.
Yep, but still young and raw and looking for some development. The Bucks have sent him back to Summer League. He will play. Harrison Wind alongside a favorite player of yours.
Really?
Keita Bates-Diop.
Oh, my God.
The 29-year-old Keita Bates-Diop still hanging around, still plugging away, trying to get a roster spot. And honestly, you never know, man. You never know around this league.
Bucks do need some players.
They do. A guy who was on my personal names draft from the draft, Bogle Yub Markovic.
I'm sorry?
From Mega Basket. Bogle Yub Markovic from Mega is playing for the Bucks. I'm very excited to watch him play some basketball. So yeah, Andre Jackson Jr. is really the headliner for those fellas. And of course, Keita Bates-Diop's joining in as well. On the Nuggets side of things, Harrison, we know Andrew Munson is back coaching this team once again for his second year.
I know, the rare back-to-back Summer League coaching appearance.
Very rare. And if the starting lineup looks like what we saw in scrimmages, I think we can guess maybe Boo Buie.
Okay.
Tamar Bates.
Okay.
I'd say Hunter Tyson.
Yeah.
Spencer Jones and DaRon Holmes, I believe, would be the starting group. So yeah, that's I slaughtered Bogle Yub's name. I don't know how else I would say that one, man. So you're gonna have to break that down.
We need a pronunciation guide on that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably right for the starting lineup. We'll get confirmation here in a second. In terms of like who we think might eat today, who we're so excited to watch play, I don't think anybody on our show has claimed him yet in terms of their guys. I'm a Spencer Jones guy.
Yeah, he's great, man.
I want him as my guy for like this summer training camp even. I'm a Spencer Jones believer, and I'm excited to watch him play at Summer League, to be honest. I like his game. I think he's going to shoot it better than he did in the brief appearances he made with the Nuggets last season. He shot it pretty well in the G League, with the sidewinder release that he's got. I love his defense. I love his body pause and just kind of his overall makeup and what he could be as a player. So I'm excited to watch Spencer Jones, man. He, to me, is kind of... He's like the Aaron Gordon to Torrey Craig's.
Yeah.
if that makes any sense.
He is more like the... Now, this team is at a different place, but he's more the Torrey Craig mold of two-way than Trey Alexander, which is to say shiftier, more dynamic as a scorer, maybe a higher ceiling as an individual player in a vacuum. But Spencer Jones is a 6'7" forward who is really active and physical, and so is probably more likely to play in case of emergency for the Nuggets than a Trey Alexander, a small guard that they moved on from. That's how I look at Spencer. He may, if the shot hits, that's when he looks like something different. But at the very least, he's an NBA body, and the Nuggets have deployed him already as such.
Yeah, I'm just a believer, man. Like,
he's a good player.
He's just the type of player that it seems like is going to stick. And he honestly reminds me of Torrey Craig a little bit. You know, when the Nuggets just plucked Torrey Craig out of Australia, bring him to Summer League, wasn't even on a two-way at that point. This is way back in 2017, 2018, that range. But he was just kind of the type of player that the Nuggets didn't have. And Spencer Jones kind of fits that mold. Just a strong defensive wing who you can just kind of plug and play. And he's smart, too. He's a smart, high IQ player. And that's maybe the biggest reason why. I just think he's going to stick. I just think he's going to be a guy.
And that's not to say he's in the rotation, right? But he's... couple guys get hurt, you're looking for some depth in the middle of the year. They've already done this with him. You throw him out there. We got to talk to him at Summer League practice. He's a very confident guy, and I don't mean cocky. I mean just confident, like a really sure of himself presence. He's a smart guy, and he's worked hard, and obviously he's the 1-2-way guy the Nuggets brought back. So clearly they believe in him to some extent.
Who's the guy you're most excited to watch tonight?
I'm going to put DaRon Holmes to the side for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because I think he's just the easy answer for a million reasons. I'm going to say Tamar Bates, the other two-way guy, who's the 23-year-old guard from Missouri, 4-year senior, and 2 years at Missouri, particularly after transferring, where he was essentially a 50, 40, 90 guy. So he was a scorer, and he's a scorer with a negative assist to turnover ratio. Typically when you hear that, you think, inefficient chucker, not a reader of the floor. Except 50, 40, 90 is awfully efficient. In fact, his senior year, he led the nation in free throw percentage. I believe the guy who trailed him was, Rain Smith, the Rain Man, also on this roster. But Tamar Bates is a shooter, a guy who will beat you off the dribble, and he got some shout-outs for his defense from the coaching staff and his teammates. So I'm curious to see what Tamar Bates brings to the table in Summer League.
Yeah. By the way, Adam, RG, and Dev, and Eric, throw him into the group. They are in Vegas right now. They're at the game, and we'll be speaking with one of them, on the post-game show, maybe a couple of them. We're here in the studio in Denver. Those guys are out in Vegas. So we split up the coverage a little bit this year, and I think it's going to go well. But
we sent Ryan Green as well, who always does such a fun job of taking you behind the scenes. So if you're looking to feel a bit more like you made the trip, obviously keep your eyes peeled to Ryan Green in that DNVR Nuggets account. Yeah.
Let's talk Holmes, though. We're obviously very excited to watch him. He is definitely number one on both our lists. I think DaRon Holmes, right now, what I'm sensing from him is that he's coming into this Summer League with more confidence than I was kind of expecting. Just from what he said, from what I've heard from people, I just think he's kind of just ready for this moment. And maybe going into last Summer League, he was a little nervous. Even though I was going back and watching some of the highlights from before he tore his Achilles, he kind of was cooking a little
bit. He actually himself said he watched those highlights and saw himself catching a rhythm.
He was kind of cooking, couple threes, a dunk. But I think he's kind of state of mind is just in a place where he's comfortable and confident. Coming off the year of rehab, obviously, it must have been really tough. I just expect him to try not to do too much.
Right.
And just be who he is as a player, not be somebody who's trying to necessarily explore his game, but somebody who knows who he is. He can shoot it. He can overpower guys, I think, with some of his size and the strength that he's put on. I'm expecting him to look good, but not necessarily be like, oh my God, this guy's going to win MVP of Summer League.
Well, you know who balled out in a Summer League context was Bol Bol. And then in like a professional, structured context, really struggled. I kind of look at Holmes as the opposite, right? I think if he was in a really organized setting with high IQ players, he would look like a guy who knows what to do, or is at least working his way towards being a guy who knows what to do. In the Summer League context, he's not going to just beat a bunch of guys one-on-one. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to try to make the right rotations, protect the rim, knock down some threes. And he, to me, Harrison, is excited. Just a positive, very, very, very positive young man who's just looking forward to getting back into basketball in a team context. I would imagine rehab is a very isolating experience when the rest of your team is working towards something. He gets to be a part of a team again, and he seems awfully excited about it.
Kale, do you have that roster of Summer League guys that I sent over? There are some names on here that we obviously have spent zero amount of time on. The Nuggets have 2 7'1" guys on this team. Ibu Baji and Tyrell Harrison. Don't think they'll play much, but just thought that was interesting.
Well,
2 7'1" guys.
And another guy to keep an eye out on, which is EJ Liddell, who is, of course...
EJ Liddell, yeah.
Who's on this team, 24 years old from Ohio State.
Former first-round pick who tore his ACL.
I mentioned this, Harrison, because if you look at how the Nuggets have used their two-way slots in the recent handful of years... They have one now in a guard in Tamar Bates. They have one now in a forward in Spencer Jones.
There's one up for grabs.
Are they looking for a big? And the star big is DaRon Holmes, who has a roster spot. So perhaps if you're EJ Liddell, if you're a fellow big on this roster, you're looking to make a little noise.
Yeah, I like that there's one open two-way spot. It just makes it a little more exciting that there's a spot there and there's this open competition. Look, that other two-way spot could come from a guy not on the Nuggets right now.
Also true.
It could come from somebody on this list.
Could come from someone else's Summer League team.
It probably, the odds are probably that it will, I would say. But maybe somebody really pops here and gets that last two-way spot.
I don't yet know the full rotation right outside of the potential starters we mentioned.
What? You don't know the whole rotation?
Of course, no.
It's okay.
Munson wouldn't tell me, and in fact, didn't even ask. But I do think this roster could have a lot of shooting. They have talked DaRon Holmes is shooting up. Hunter Tyson was terrible last year. Did really pop the first year at Summer League. In theory, could shoot in this context. Tamar Bates is a shooter. I don't think the Rain Man will play, but he's a prolific shooter. They've got some guys who they think can shoot this thing. So I'm curious if they can make a little run with this roster. We'll find out.
Here's a question for you.
What's up?
Do we like that Hunter Tyson is playing on this Summer League roster?
I don't think he has a ton to lose, to be honest.
Does he have a ton to gain, though?
Probably not.
Maybe with other teams.
Maybe confidence.
Yeah. Look, I don't mind it just because I don't think he's taking the playing time away from anybody that I'm really excited to see. I'm not as excited about this Summer League team as I've been in years past. But I do think there's a chance he can look good like he has in the Summer League environment before when he was all first team Summer League. That wasn't that long ago.
Here's one.
And he can up his trade value maybe.
Up his trade value. Here's the other source of utility. Maybe helps the Summer League team in that
That's a good point.
Older. Again, the organized basketball stuff that allows other people to play well. Maybe it's just a guy that Munson can rely on in that sense and try to be a veteran for this group. A veteran in the Summer League context, of course.
Yeah. Shifting gears a little bit, Michael Porter Jr. posted a goodbye to Denver thank you message on his YouTube channel, the Curious Mike YouTube channel. And if you haven't watched it, there it is. Look at that fella. If you haven't watched it after this pregame show, maybe before the game starts and before we hop on the watch along, go watch it. I don't think I've ever seen a thank you from an athlete to his former team as like honest and respectful and genuine and with as much class as Michael Porter had in this video. I was kind of blown away by this man. He says goodbye to everybody and gives thanks to a ton of people, specifically, Tim Connolly. He goes back and talks about draft night, talking with Tim for the first time in the lead up to the draft. Denver's medical staff, Michael Malone. He says how he found out he got traded. Kind of a crazy story about randomly meeting up with John Wallace at the Four Seasons when he says he didn't know he was supposed to.
Not knowing he was the new GM.
That too.
That as
an
well.
Unplanned meetup. But again, I was kind of blown away. I cannot remember an athlete posting a goodbye message that honestly like hit me in the core more than this one did.
You can't accuse Mike of being insincere. He's been a very sincere person one way or another, in ways that have gotten him in trouble, in ways we haven't loved, in ways we've learned to really appreciate. Mike tells you what he's thinking. That's just one way or another. You cannot argue that. And it was a lot of gratitude. I don't sense any bitterness here at all. I think Mike was glad to contribute to a winning team. I think that's as good of an outcome as he could have had after the third surgery occurred. He knows that, I think. And now he's excited to go see what else he can do. He's never really had a developmental rep in his life.
Yeah.
Since AAU anyway. He goes to college, hurts his back, goes to the NBA. There's a redshirt season, a third surgery, and immediately trying to fit into a team context on a potential and eventual contender. There's just not a lot of Mike developmental minutes. Maybe it's too late. Maybe the injuries have become too pervasive. But he gets a chance to sort of play, I would say, lower leverage, lower pressure, and more experimental hoops in Brooklyn. I think he's ready for that. I think this is a happy ending. The Nuggets are able to win a championship with him and then turn him into a good player. Mike seems appreciative. So it's really, I think, honestly, a soft landing from something that could have truly gone a lot uglier.
Yeah. A couple things in particular stuck out from this thank you video to me. I appreciate you, Coach Malone. Thank you for helping me grow up and teaching me how to play the game the right way.
Yep.
Michael Malone and MPJ, they had their battles. Like, we knew they definitely did not see eye to eye on how basketball should be played at times throughout the last 6 years or so. But it was a relationship, I think, that started out rocky, but then grew to a place where I think Michael Porter recognized what Michael Malone was conveying and how he wanted him to play for the Nuggets to win a championship.
Yep.
And they did. And I think Michael Malone also realized that maybe Michael Porter isn't the perfect player. Maybe he's not your dream player to have on this team, but you need him to have the fully maximized version of the Nuggets. And they kind of came to this place, I think, definitely during the championship run of an understanding and both of them kind of meshing with each other as much as they needed to get the job done. And I just thought that was a really great line from Mike. Thank you for helping me grow up and teaching me how to play the game the right way, man.
He just mentioned what I just did, which is, again, didn't really even get to play much college basketball. And, we worried at times about Malone's approach. Was it too white knuckle? Was it too hard on Mike? Mike was ultimately receptive to the coaching. And so, yeah, man, I think this has the potential to be a really, really soft landing and a happy ending to something that was nearly a disaster. And the one thing I'll always credit Mike for, man, was just working to make sure it wasn't a complete disaster.
Totally.
And try to stay available. And he did do that, and hopefully he can do it in Brooklyn.
Look, man, and Mike even said this in this video. He thinks he's got room to spread his wings. He thinks he's got room to explore his game. And look, there weren't those opportunities in Denver. You got the two-man game. You got a set kind of structure and flow of how the Nuggets play. And you have to give MPJ a ton of credit for fitting into that and doing his job. That's what the Nuggets asked of him. But we've known this, and he even said as much. He wants to see what else he can do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to like be the number one Michael Porter Jr. option. Let him cook and score.
Definitely not.
I don't know.
Definitely not.
Maybe he's got more in the bag, and we'll see. I think there's a chance. But I'm glad that he now can see if he's got that in himself. And he had a great line where he said, you know, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, I appreciate you guys. Like, I appreciate you for welcoming me into this team, you know, when you guys were already established in that two-man game. And I thought this was a pretty awesome, honest, genuine, and classy goodbye from MPJ.
Yeah, and of course some classic MPJ moments in there as well, which to me the favorite is not recognizing, not knowing even John Wallace was the GM.
Can we talk about that for a second?
Someone in the chat just dropped, I like the idea that anyone could have put on a suit at the Four Seasons and just convinced Mike.
So Mike said in this that he was, I think he does have a residency at the Four Seasons downtown, and he was at the hotel bar and just happened to run into Nuggets' new executive vice president of, I'm sorry, I forgot his title.
I think he is player personnel.
Player personnel.
I believe he is player personnel.
He randomly happened to run into him at the hotel bar and did not know he was the executive vice president of player personnel.
Amazing anecdote.
This seems like it happened after John Wallace was named and before the trade.
Another interesting little detail there is John Wallace says to him, you know, we're hoping things can be a little different for you this year, maybe with a new point guard in the second unit.
Right.
So he
was hinting that, at least in MPJ's words, he was hinting that Porter was not getting traded and instead they were bringing in another point guard to bolster the second unit.
Which is just interesting. I don't know the unassailable account of the truth in terms of the timeline. It's just an interesting detail.
So maybe the trade came out of nowhere. Maybe something got lost in translation. I don't know.
You know, Mike even said, I knew, once they said it was urgent, I knew what it was. I think Mike was prepared for this.
Yeah.
When the second round went the way it did last year.
Yeah.
So.
And he even had that quote, I think it was heading into the playoffs last year, where it was something along the lines of, if we don't get this done, we know they might break up the team.
Yeah.
So
He knew the whole way. That's one thing about Mike, is he knew what was going on. He just was limited physically.
Yeah. But a great goodbye from Mike, and I'm excited to see him with the Nets. I'm excited. We're going to do a quick betting segment because we are true sickos on the Bet365 app. I asked Dev for a couple bets, and of course he had them.
Oh, Dev likes Summer League action.
These are Dev's bets for today. Nuggets +2 and over 174.5. He's a simple man. I'm not sure if there's any player props up for this game. There were earlier. I don't think there are now. It was like Hunter Tyson over 20 points. Shit like that. I don't know. But those are Dev's bets if you want to get in on any action. I would not recommend it, but if you want.
If Dev is suggesting a Summer League under, look, actually, let me be clear. Bet responsibly. Bet at your own, do your own thing. But here's a better way of framing it.
There's player props.
Bet really likes unders at Summer League.
You want some player props? Let's see. Hunter Tyson, 15 points is minus 200.
Sure. Why not? Although, are they trying to get Hunter Tyson the ball? Who do you think gets to cook the most?
I know. I feel like that's awful juice.
Yeah, the juice is terrible. Is there a Tamar Bates line in there?
No. We got Hunter Tyson, Tyler Smith, who's on the Bucks, DaRon Holmes, and Andre Jackson, who's not a scorer at all, but they've got his points in here.
I think it's about looking at team and total over-unders in these ones.
Yeah.
And
you don't want to place a Hunter Tyson rebounds bet?
I think placing a player prop bet for Summer League is crazy work.
I mean, it is absolutely crazy.
I think it's crazy work.
But can I get threes on DaRon Holmes?
No.
No, you cannot.
Actually can't.
Damn.
You can only get threes on Hunter Tyson, I think. Actually, no. You can only get threes on Tyler Smith of the Bucks. Here's a same game parlay that Bet365 cooked up for us. Hunter Tyson 15 plus points, DaRon Holmes 15 plus points, money line Denver Nuggets. I don't think I'm going to touch these. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to touch these. All right, that's the betting segment for today.
Hey, that was a lot of fun.
Guys, we are going to do a watch along for this Summer League game. I'm excited. We also have a package from Josh Burnett from Down Under.
Down Under.
That he sent all the way from Australia that we're going to open live on the show.
Perfect.
I'm excited for that. And I think the game's on NBA TV.
NBA TV and Altitude.
And Altitude, potentially.
Here's I think, a potentially large demographic. You care about the Nuggets enough to watch a full Summer League game on a Thursday night, but you don't have enough people in your life who will watch that game with you.
Yeah.
Come on in.
I know a lot of you are probably sitting with your wife, your girlfriend, and you don't want to ask them to turn on the Summer League game. You're scared to ask that question. I know I've been in that exact situation.
Watch with us. Watch with us.
Watch it with us. They don't want to watch. Just watch it with us.
Perfect.
We'll see you guys on the watch along.
We all silly like the mayor.